everyone.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
We are back and we are excited to just continue to talk about the challenges of being a single parent and the things that we go through and the things that we face and so on and so forth. And I hope that you guys can come on in and send your questions or whatever it is. We're keeping it real with moms here and just kind of digging in. So remember, one move, one movement, one change can change your life, and we're hoping that this is going to be helpful and a blessing in some kind of way for you, or just to listen, whatever you like. It doesn't matter. So again, I have Miss Robinson here again, and this week we just wanted to kind of more focus on what the mother goes through, or it can be a father. It doesn't have to be mother, or it can be either or. It doesn't have to just be only for a single mother. It can be a single father as well. And so we're gonna just get into more of that. And so we're just gonna jump right on in. So I wanted to ask her more about, as a mother, her feelings and like her emotions and things that she was going through as a single parent. So what are some of the things that you went through as a woman raising your children on your own? What are some of the things? Were you angry? Were you mad? Were you moody? Were you upset? Were there times where you just wanted to give up? Were there times where you wanted to leave, pack up your bags, say, hey, I just can't do this no more, it's hard, and wanted to leave? What are some of the things that you went through on a different, more like an emotional level?
I can say that I went through all of those emotions. You do go through all of those emotions at times. You be angry, you be emotional about different things because it's not working out the way you think it is, and it's just a hardship on everything in your finances, and just as a single parent, just not really having the time for you and not knowing how to deal with the different emotions like anger or bitterness or it's just different moments. I'm trying to explain it in a way that you'll understand, but it's just different moments at different times, different situations that pop up because you're the only one that's doing it. So you have like maybe a bill come in and you don't have the money. You get angry because you don't have the money, and then you just have to learn how to budget, and then your emotions. You really don't have time to really focus on it as much because you got so many things coming at you at one time, especially if you have kids, you got them to worry about too.
Because I know, like I said, you can be a single mother or a father, but from a woman's perspective, as a single mother, meaning that I had my child in the household majority of the time, it was difficult for me because sometimes I did feel like I wanted to give up. I felt like leaving, like, oh, you know what, I can't do this anymore. And you feel like you just want to pull your hair out. You get angry, you get mad because your child is, you don't have that additional like support, so you have to kind of figure things out on your own. Or maybe your child is just being bad and you can't tell your child, hey, look, go over there to your dad, or dad comes in and says something, because I think the children usually have a tendency to listen more to their father. Dad can say something like, stop doing that, and the child just stops or starts crying or something, and the mother says, hey, stop doing that, and the child's like, ah, and just keeps on doing it, so you have to deal with a lot of that. And what about like financially? I'm sure you had to come up like with creative recipes and leftovers and shop at discounted stores, and the kids got probably hand-me-downs and things like that. You had to look for ways to make ends meet financially. So
yes, those things came into play. You have to budget, number one, and then you have to also, like she said, you shop at the stores that's not as expensive. You learn to find those stores. Sometimes you might have to go to Goodwill and pick up stuff, but it's no shame in it because it's something that you have to do on the budget that you have. So I don't think that, as for me as a single mother, I wasn't thinking about going to any store. I was just thinking about it's something that they needed. So my thought was always to try to go to where what I could do with what I had to do with, and I wasn't ashamed about it or anything. I just did it because I knew that was something that I had to do. Go to the store, buy the stuff that wasn't that was probably in bulk instead of the nice cute package. It would be in bulk sometime, and then like I would schedule what I was gonna have for that week, and just make something different every day. We had leftovers, then they would eat leftovers, and I never thought about anything else than just having everything that I needed for them to make them, to have them to live their lives.
So budgeting, I think it's really important as a single parent. Is like one of the key things is that you have to budget things, and some things your child is gonna go without. You're gonna have to make sacrifices because you're on a budget. It's not like you have another source of income coming in, or you may be getting government assistance or something like that. But you just have enough to make ends meet. So I think that is really important as a single parent, and teaching your children that it's okay not to have what you see other children have. Don't feel bad about yourself because maybe you go to school and it's you get new outfits and stuff like that. School started new outfits, new latest cell phones or games or stuff like that. The person that's single may not be able to provide that. When I say like single, I mean no other additional support coming in from another parent. You're kind of doing this all on your own. And so your child, the most important thing I think is talking to your children and letting them know, hey, let them know ahead of time. There's gonna be times where we're not gonna be able to go out and watch that movie. We're not gonna be able to go out and get that nice dress or that nice shoes or something like that you want, because hey, we don't have it. We have to budget this way. And it's okay. You don't have to feel, like she was saying, feel bad about what you have on or this or that. You just have to go without. And that's okay. So it's important to talk to your children about that. And I think one of the things too is if you're working, because you're working and you don't have someone at home cooking and things like that. So a lot of times you have to be selective about what you buy, and you have to buy things that's gonna last for maybe a couple of days or so. You don't want to go out. For me, I would recommend having a plan when you go to the store, and just don't buy cookies and a whole bunch of juices and a whole bunch of junk food that's gonna make the child feel better. But more so what's going to be good for them health-wise, and what's going to make it last for the family throughout the week. And
that's very important too, is learning to go to the stores that are having sales. Don't be ashamed to go in and get things that's on sale. And just like she said, just be budgeting and putting out a plan of what you're going to fix for the week. And you don't have to have all of the things, especially if you're on a budget. You don't have to have all of those things, because I think that one of the most important things is getting things in order. Like, first of all, you want to have a place for your kids to live, because when I was raising my kids, sometimes we had to go stay with other people. I didn't like that. That was a struggle for me. And it hurt me on the inside because I had to stay with other people. And so my thing to tell anybody is to always make sure that you have things in order. Pay your bills no matter what. What is your priority? Number one priority is having a roof over your head. and then making sure that those bills are paid and stuff. Number 2 is making sure that you have food. Well, with food, you can always go to a church or something, and they usually give out food. So I think the number 1 thing is just having a roof over your child's head where they're safe. They feel safe. They're at home. And then also with the food, feeding them things that's nurturing to their body, nurturing to their bodies, because you can give them all that sugar and drinks and all of that sugar, and then later as they get older, their bodies start breaking down because they didn't have the nutrients in their bodies, and you have to look at the labels on there today. Back then you didn't, but today you do. As far as the sugar that if they're drinking sodas, it's a lot of sugar and soda and juices. They don't tell you these things. It's a lot of sugar in those things. So you have to look, because if they're getting a juice and then they're drinking a soda and then they're having candy, they have like almost 100 teaspoons of sugar a day, and that's not good. Even though it feels good, it's not good for them.
So you have to monitor, I would think, just monitor what you buy your kids, that's all. And just kind of have balance on how you spread out the food, and just trying to make ends meet. So what else did we want to talk about here? Having a plan, that's important, and having a budget is important. And sometimes you may be in a situation where you have to live with somebody, and of course that's not what you want to do, but that's what you have to do sometimes in order to get to where you need to go. And it's okay when you have to do that. It's okay if that's what you have to do. My thing is that just talk to your child about it. Just talk to your children. Let them know, because they don't know. They don't know what's going on. They're just growing up into an environment and they see all this stuff. Sometimes some kids may or may not know their parents. Some of them never met their parent, not their parents, but some of them may or may not know their mother or father. Some of them never met their father or mother. So it's important, I think, early on or some of them may have been around and they just all of a sudden disappeared for whatever the reasons may be. Maybe you were together and you split up because of it just didn't work out, just conflict. So, or maybe they're just a deadbeat parent. They just don't want to be involved. They don't want that responsibility. Whatever the case may be, I think it's important that we talk to our children at a young age and explain to them what's going on, and not to badmouth the parent, not to say, oh, well, your parent, your father was a bad father, he did this, he did that, or your mother was like this and that, and so that's why we broke up, or she's not in your life and he's not, whatever. You don't want to get the child mixed. That's grown folk stuff. That's grown folk stuff. That's not children. That's not for a child. You're not going to be explaining that to your child. You're going to tell them in love, this is life. This is life. This is what happens. And everybody is dealt a different card in life. It's a different journey for no one. Life is the same. And so, but we want to focus on what's best for our child. So you don't want to let your children see if there's some type of struggle, fighting, the parent's not living there, but you're fighting. You hook up every now and then, you're fighting and stuff like that. You don't want your child involved in that mess. Okay, so and then I wanted to kind of go back a little bit. Like, did you ever feel like a time where you were like losing yourself or anything like that, with so many things going on, trying to make ends meet, trying to juggle schedules, trying to cook and stuff like? Did you ever feel like like you were losing yourself at some point?
Yes, you do have moments like that you feel like it's just moments, for me, it was just moments where I felt like, what's going on? It was just like pressure, you know, things coming at you and stuff. And then you have kids that you're, you know, trying to discipline and trying to give them the best that you know how to give them. So it was moments that I had where, oh, I don't want to be here. I could just, you know, if I kill myself, you know, those kind of things. Yes, those thoughts do come to your mind, but always another thought that comes, well, who's going to take care of my kids? Nobody's going to take care of my kids the way I want them to be raised, you know. And so it kind of, you just kind of bounce back. But I think it was just the pressure of everything, the finances and being the only parent, being the person that has to discipline them and stay on top of that. And, you know, with just everything. And so, yes, you do get emotional. You have your down times where you're feeling really down about yourself, what is going on. And, you know, sometimes, well, for me, I had sometimes thought, man, if I could just get out of here, you know, I would be so much better, you know, and stuff. But it always came back to, I love my kids and I wanted to be there for them. So I would just bounce back and start doing whatever it is that I had to do to survive and to have them survive also. And like Keena said, that I think that if you talk to your kids early on and you sit down and you have a communication with them and you try to get them to understand, kids are pretty much willing to understand where you're coming from if you're honest with them and you're not making up something or you're not trying to pretend like something is something that it's not, because they will know about it. They will know and they will learn as they grow to see. So it's just, I think the most important thing is learning to communicate, be honest, and tell your kids when you haven't, oh, this is not a good day for me, or, you know, just give me a little bit of time so you can go and detox and relax. That way you're not angry and you're not yelling and screaming and, you know, all those kind of things. Then your kid, that reflects on them, you know, in some kind of way, even though they don't talk about it.
So, got so caught up in the moment. She lost me somewhere. I got my thoughts somewhere in there, but let me just get to myself here. So let me kind of reflect on me a little bit as, you know, being with a single parent. One thing there it is, I got it. So one thing was really helpful is that making quick meals that are quick, just something that's real quick and simple. Spaghetti, or, you know, I was a microwave person. I know a lot of people don't probably do the microwave, but microwave was like my best friend, especially if you're working. As soon as you get off work, they have some really great meals there for microwave food for, you know, different types of different things, and better than TV dinners now. They've upgraded a lot. And so that's one of the things. And the other thing was, oh gosh, I'll come back to it. I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, I know what it was. It was losing. I think you do lose yourself as a parent. You have to, right? Because you have to lose yourself in order to give to your child. Now, I know when I was, you know, with my child, it took me a couple of years to realize that it was about my child, because it was so much about me before I had my child. And so I was like, what? You mean I gotta discipline this child? I gotta take care of this little child here? What, they have attitude? Wait, I thought I was the only one that could have attitude. Oh no, I gotta wipe their, you know, when they make a mess, I gotta clean it up? Oh no, they're attached to my hip. What, you mean everywhere I go, they go? Oh no, they're crying and I don't know what to do. Like, if your child is crying and they're having a tantrum and nobody there is to help but me? Oh no, I can't. This is so not me. I'm used to just doing things for me on my own, taking care of my own self, feeding only me, and, you know, being, you know, taking care, you know, whatever, you know. So it took a while. Like, so when I became a parent, I didn't really know nobody knows, right? It doesn't come like a book of instructions. And there's a lot of things I think you have to transition into for some of us in becoming a responsible parent that really truly care about your child. There were moments where I felt like, well, only if the father was here, that would take a little pressure on me. I don't want to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to take, I'm sure everybody's been there. If not, you probably will be there when you have a child. If whether you're single, you may be a single parent or not, I don't know. But there was moments where I felt like, gosh, I got to take my child to the doctor at 2 o'clock in the morning. There's no one around. I get you, that you have these moments where you're mad, you're frustrated. And so you have to be able to have that time for yourself and find ways to release that pressure, that anger. So you're not taking it out on your child, because the child doesn't deserve it. They don't deserve it because they didn't ask for it, And so that's not their responsibility. It's our responsibility to teach them and raise them, whether we're a single parent or whether we're not. And so, so I'm sure, like, how did you juggle your schedules between, like, with working and, childcare, and how did you juggle between?
Well, with working, I always tried to have a job where I would work while they was at school, and if I couldn't have one, by the time they got out of school, they would only be with someone maybe 2 hours from the time that I would get off work and get home. So I always tried to make sure that it was times that I worked that I would be home, or I would be home within an hour afterwards. So I would be there. And as far as babysitting or child care, I tried that. It didn't work for me because I had people that would come in and then they wouldn't do what they were supposed to do. So I would always have to just try to find a job that worked around my schedule. And then I didn't have the money for child care. So, but I was on government assistance, and that was a struggle. But once I moved, and I moved to somewhere else, and I started working, I was able to get a job at the school district. So I would go to work, and they would get up, and I would be at home by the time they got home, and have things prepared. So that kind of worked for me. So I didn't ever have the struggle about the child care thing. But I know that some people do, and you just want to make sure that they're in the right place. And
check out the child care centers and wherever you're gonna leave your child.
And sometimes go early. Like, they thinking you coming at one time. That way you'll know if they're really taking care of your child, because
just the spontaneous showing up spontaneously.
Yes.
So you have to make. I think some of the struggles in being and challenges of being a single parent is that you have to make sacrifices. That you're angry because you feel like, why do I have to make this sacrifice? If only, I probably wouldn't have to make this sacrifice. And sometimes you have deadbeat parents, and it's probably better for them not to be in a child's life. But like I said, every situation is different. I think the key is it's zeroing in on your child. That's the key. That's the key, because that child is going to grow up. They're going to grow up, and they're going to be exposed to a lot of different things, and they're going to be searching for a lot of different things. And it's for us to protect our children. And we want to, and we may not have that additional, because sometimes we can bounce off each other. When you're with the parent, you bounce out, you can kind of brainstorm, you try to figure out what's best. And some of us, we may not have that bouncing off. We may not have anyone that we can go to and talk to that we can trust, right? And so it's up to us to create an environment that's loving and nurturing, and that's gonna protect them as they're growing up, and where they're not lashing out of anger. Well, why wasn't dad here, or why wasn't mom here, or what happened. You know, you want to be able to fill that area with love. You want to be able to fill that area with support. You want to be able to fill that area with nurturing, whatever the reason may be that why that parent is not there. The child should not be in the middle. What you have to do is turn all that around, whatever that feeling may be. And like I said, I keep saying zeroing in on child because it's so important. It's so important for them to get that nurturing of the feeling of not having that parent around. Because you can go through rejection. You have that feeling of, hey, like, what's wrong with me? Like, why was my parent around? Like, why isn't dad around? Why isn't mom around? You know, they're mad, they angry because, you know, they may be around other kids that both of their parents are around, and they're looking at themselves like, well, what's wrong with me, as they continue to grow. When not so much when they're young, but other stuff starts to come along as they continue to grow and get older. And so just remember that I'm telling you this, it's okay if the parent is not around. You're gonna be okay. You're gonna be just fine, and you're gonna make it. Yes. It's gonna be hard. You're gonna have trials and tribulations. You're gonna have obstacles. You're gonna make sacrifices. You're not gonna be able. I remember having to rearrange my schedule because I couldn't, for working reasons, I couldn't go out and get that job. Oh man, that job is perfect. Like, that's good hours, off early. This is good. Nope, can't do it. Can't do it. Why? I got a child. I got to figure out, you know, how that's going to work, who's going to take care of the child, you know, child care. And sometimes getting the government or some type of assistance, it's okay. You know, that's what it's there for. It's there to be able to help when that extra help is not there. It's not very much, but hey, it comes in handy. There are some benefits and resources available that we can utilize to give us that extra help and extra support. So, what was the most, and I want some questions, you guys give me some feedback or something, let me know something. What was the most important things to you in raising your children as a single parent?
I think the most important part was, for me, raising them was to be respectful to other people and to be in an environment where you could deal with all kinds of people. It just wasn't one type of person. How to handle yourself when you go out, you know, in discipline, how to carry yourself. And I think the most important thing was being independent, because I remember telling them all the time, I want you guys to be independent. Always have your own bank account. Be independent. Don't rely on anybody. And I also told them, don't rely on me, because I might not always be there, because we don't never know what's going to happen. And they need to know how to be independent, to make decisions on their own. It's hard to make decisions by yourself with your parents. So to be able to make a decision within yourself, to say, okay, this is the right decision, you know, and you go along with it, that was more important to me. And for them to know the budget, you know, budgeting and knowing that things just don't come to you and life is hard, you know. And I think that was the most important thing to me, that I wanted them to be independent. I wanted them to have their own. I didn't want them to be relying on myself or a significant other or anything like that. I wanted them to know that, hey, you know, I can do this. I have my own. Not saying that they're not supposed to be with nobody else, but to be with somebody else, but always have your own. Because I experienced that, you know, not having my own and then relying on staying with somebody like a man, and then the man put me out. Okay, I didn't have nowhere to go. So that woke me up to say, oh no, I will never, ever be like that again. And I never was. And so that part of me, learning it at a young age, wanted me to teach my kids that be independent, have your own bank account, have your own job, you know, put more invested into yourself than putting it into somebody else.
Did you feel like you gave up a lot having children, having 4 children? Did you feel like you gave up a lot? or you had to give up a lot. You couldn't do the stuff that you wanted to do because you had to wait until after you raised your children.
Yeah, I think so. I think so because I had my kids at a young age, so I didn't really know. But then I also had experience of being around kids because I was the oldest of 11. So I knew about being independent. I knew how to be in lead of taking care of my sisters and brothers and kind of like taking care of my kids. But it's kind of like a different experience when you have kids. Yeah, I think I did give up a lot because one of the things that I didn't want was because I was a single parent, I didn't want a man always around my kids. I just didn't, if it wasn't their father. So I was kind of like, gave up on having probably a steady kind of relationship. But I think I did, but it's a reward at the end. Even though I went through all of this, went through all of the stuff with my kids, raising them, the hardship and stuff, it is a reward at the end. And I know that raising them, they thought that I was hardcore and I wasn't really like friend, because you have to be both. You know, you have to be the disciplined one, you got to be the nurturing one. So I never had the chance to be most of the time the nurturing one. So it was in my head for them to do better. And it's always been in my head for them to do better and to be independent. And I don't look at it as I lost anything or I missed out on anything. Back then I probably did, but today when I look back, I don't think I missed out on anything. I think that I did what I had to do with the responsibility that was put in front of me.
Did you notice that at any time, like your children or your child, like where is dad at, or did you see anything? Were they angry at times? Did they ever like approach you with, where's dad? Why isn't dad here? Or did you have to go through that with them at times?
Yes, it was moments. It wasn't a lot of them, but it was moments that I had to explain to them that their fathers wasn't in their lives for whatever reasons, and that was hard. But I always said that their father loved them, but their father just wasn't in the household at that time. And I tried my best not to talk about their fathers in a negative way, because I think in my mind I knew that they would grow up and they would find out for themselves about their fathers. But as for me, it hurt me because it was like they cared more about the absent father than they did about the parent that was there. They were seeking more for them than they were for the parent that was there.
So that probably does happen.
Yeah.
That happens, I think it's probably from missing the parent that's not there. You struggle as a child and the parent's not, your mother or dad is not there, so you miss them. You have this of missing them in a way and wanting to be accepted. But that's a whole different story. We're talking about more so about the struggles of, the challenges that single parenting, what we've gone through and what you go through as a single parent. And
and then too, you do be lonely. You do be lonely.
You are lonely. That is a
lonely.
big plus. A big. You get lonely. You get tired,
yes.
And you get lonely, and you're like, okay, but you got to keep pushing.
Yes.
You got to keep going. You got to keep moving because you want the best for your child, because that's a big responsibility. It's hard. It's hard. I think raising a child is one of the hardest jobs, and you're not getting paid for it. There's no source of money coming in, but it's in the end, it's a blessing to see, the product of who you are. Right? As you grow up and you see a little bit of you and your child, you be like, that's my child. That's my child. I see that in my child, You see that in your child. Be like, she got that from me. Or he got that from me. That's my child right there, So the struggle may be hard, while they're growing up. You start thinking like, when is this going to stop? When is this going to end? When are they going to be, 12, 13, 14, 15? some of the other stuff we go through as, being a single parent is like, you have to go to the school meetings, you got to participate in the PTA and, grades, discussing their grades with them, report cards and stuff, being on them about why didn't you do your homework, trying to figure out their homework with them and things like that. And so, and that's an everyday thing, And so you go through all of those different emotions and feelings and anxieties and overwhelming and things like that. But then you bring it back all in. You just kind of bring it all together, and then you start all over again and just keep your eye on your child. And that's, like I said, that's the most important thing. Whether the father or the mother, whether they want to participate or not, that's cool. That's fine. I think the sooner the person forgives and let go, the better it is for that child. The sooner you say that, you know what, that's okay. You know what, we're going to be okay. You're going to make it. You will make it no matter what. I guarantee you will make it as a single parent, whether the father is there or not, whether they're providing financially, both ways, mothers too. You will definitely make it. Okay, so just believe that.
And you will be stronger in it. Never feel like you're not worthy in raising your children by yourself, because you're always worthy. You're always worthy, especially if you're teaching them the discipline. The discipline is more important than anything else, I believe. And discipline your children and having them to have respect. Not so much with having things, because things will come and things will go. It's the things that you put on the inside of them, like loving and being respectful, doing their homework, and being consistent in what you're doing. Being consistent on an everyday basis. Not today you say, oh, you on punishment for a week, but you gave them a month. And then once 2 days is over, because you're so busy and you're so, doing things as a mother, that you forget that you put them on a punishment, and then they're not on the punishment no more. You got to be consistent with them. You got to stick to it. And because kids, just like we know our kids, your kids will learn to know you. They learn how to come to you and manipulate you also. So to me, just being disciplined and noticing your kids, putting your kids first. Like we say, loving your kids more, to me, loving your kids more than you love yourself, because you give up a lot when you're a tended parent.
And as you discipline, yes, teach them the values about to love God. That is so true.
Yes.
Thank you, Nancy.
Yes.
And that's key. That is really key about, that helped me out a lot.
Yeah, because I drove them to church.
Without that, I don't know if I would have made it. I probably would have been doing something else to try to survive as being a parent. So that is very
Number
key.
one.
And like you say, like just being, disciplined and training your child and how you want them to learn and to grow and stuff like that. And so I'm gonna go out. I don't know if you guys have any questions, but I'm gonna read this. I had someone send in a question, a topic. And the person is from Community to Eliminate MST. And thank you for your question and concern and issue that she brought up. It says, in California, single parents have challenges of affordable housing if they are single parenting, without any family in their city, neighborhood, or community. Without the child support enforcement or Harmony for Family supportive services, the women typically suffers into poverty level, thus tossing children into inadequacy of child care, suitable food amounts and types limited by their income or state level low amount of food stamps, employment without child care on site at reduced or sliding scales, bringing child care as a larger issue is the payment of child care. So some of this stuff I can totally relate to, because where was I going with this? If you don't have affordable housing, then it's even more hard in trying to make ends meet as a single parent. And so maybe they should give, more affordable housing. I think they do have, depending on, there's a lot of stuff that's going, depending on your job, your income. Perhaps they should provide more homes and for people that are single parent. I don't know how I don't know how all that works, but that would be something to look into, is providing more resources for single parents, and not at so much, because right now, I know when I was back in the day, they had you like on a certain income, like you can't make so much and you have to balance all that stuff out. Like, okay, if I make $2 over, then I won't qualify for childcare, and then you won't, but childcare is expensive, like, so you have to kind of really think about it, like, can I go for that job promotion? But if I go for that job promotion, I'm gonna have to pay more in childcare, and then you're still suffering in a way, versus not taking that next level and staying within that bracket. That part is very challenging when you don't have another source of income, like another parent in the household that's working, where you can make those decisions without even thinking about it. It's like, I got a promotion, I'm going for it. So there's a lot of stuff that you have to consider again and sacrifice as a single parent. But anyway, if you guys we don't only work for success, teach them about spiritual gifts. That's what will count at the end of this journey. Hold on, you guys. Not much you have, but the good you have accomplished in this lifetime. And that's so true. Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you, Nancy.
That is like so key, and so that is on point. It's more about at the end of the journey, the good that you have accomplished in this lifetime. And that's important to teach your children that as well. Teach them to do good things. Teach them to have morals and things like that. It's so important today. You want your child to have morals and be a contribute to society and to people and to help people, and be considerate and be respectful. And so, because one day you're going to pass away, and you're going to want to make sure that your child is able to survive without you around. So that's really important as well. Thank you for sharing that, Nancy. Okay, well, I think that's it. I can't think of anything else that I want to ask or share. Unless you had something else that you wanted to share, or before we end, let's see, what time is it? We almost at.
I just want to say that thank you, Nancy. That is a very important point about putting God first, because that's one of the things that I tried to do, was have God first and teaching them. I took them to church. I tried to teach them, the lessons that I learned in churches and stuff like that. And I think today is very, very important to teach your children. Pray with your children, read the Bible with them, and and you can learn together. Even if they don't want to, just sit down 15 minutes with them or so and read the Bible with them. It'll make a tremendous difference in how your kids grow up and having that relationship with God. Because just like we have a relationship with our children, we need to have that first relationship with God. And God bless you guys.
Yeah, there's the other thing. There's so much, but you wanna communicate with your children. You wanna make sure that you're communicating with them on a daily basis. That is very key. And even when they don't want to talk, especially when they're like at that teenage age, or if you see something like funny with your child, they start acting funny or start acting weird, or even when they get older, because we're still parents when we get older. That
and
doesn't
they get
change.
Quiet too.
And you still continue to try to find out what's going on. trying to, keep digging so they can learn how to express themselves and express their emotions and express how they feel, so that they're not growing up with anger and animosity and unforgiveness and hate and rage inside of them, because that explodes, and it's going to explode somewhere, right? And it's going to keep them back from experiencing the good in life, the love in life, the appreciation in life, because they have grown up with all this resentment and hate. And it's easy for a child to say, oh, everything's good, everything's okay, but is it really okay? That sometimes is just a way for you not to dig in because they don't want to talk about it. So you have to get them to express how they feel. And also
make them feel comfortable. Make them feel comfortable to express to you how they feel. Don't take it personally or anything. Help them to learn how to communicate and help them to be able. Don't try to guess what they're trying to say. Let them be able, even if it hurts you, let them be able to express exactly how they feel, because that way then you can hear it, even though it hurt, then they'll feel like, oh, I can talk to her about anything, because now I'm free. I'm free to relate. And then they learn how to communicate, and they learn how to talk about their feelings.
And so, like I was saying, right on, our communication is through prayer and learn to listen as a parent,
yes,
as a child of God. And that is very true as well, because we don't want our children, there's so many different things you can get on drugs and just living a life of vanity. And it just becomes about them and self-absorbed and self-centered type of children. And you don't want that. You want them to have balance in their life. You want them to love people, love people. And you want them to be able to give that love. And you don't want your child turning to drugs because the parent didn't have time to listen to them. And it happens because you get so busy with work. You're a single parent. You're busy with work and food and trying to provide and make ends meet. It's easy to just kind of get caught up in survival mode and forget about your child. And so you have to be able to express that and say, hey, you got to take that time, 5 or 10 minutes, and talk with your child and communicate with them and teach them about God and having prayer. And if some people don't believe in that, to each his own, but I know it worked for me. And it worked for my daughter and raising her up with morals and stuff like that. And so anyway, I hope that this has been encouraging and uplifting for everyone. And I'm going to have more people come on the show and talk about different things. I was hoping to get some more questions here, but I guess not. I wanted people to kind of chime in with some other questions about single parenting and stuff like that. The main part is that we just wanted to let you guys know that you're not alone, and there's others out there that are struggling. And I just want to let you know that you're going to make it. No, not bragging today. I saw her. So we're thankful that just having an opportunity to share with you guys. So join us again. I don't know what my topic will be next week, but stay tuned. And I'm looking for people to come in and talk about some different things, different topics and stuff like that. All right, I'll see you guys next week, hopefully next Saturday. Okay.
Bye, God
Take
bless.
care. Bye-bye.